The first time I saw her standing outside my bedroom window, I thought I was about to become the victim of a very strange burglary. It was nearly midnight, and rain was tapping against the glass when I noticed a woman on the other side of the window, completely still, staring inside. My heart jumped. I pushed the curtain aside and found my new neighbor, Claire Bennett, standing beneath the porch light with tears in her eyes. Trying to hide my fear, I cracked the window open and joked, "Nothing to steal here." She looked at me for a long second, smiled sadly, and whispered, "How about you?" I laughed because I didn't understand what she meant. I would understand soon enough. If you believe people deserve kindness, second chances, and someone willing to see beyond their worst moments, please take a second to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Because sometimes, the person standing outside your window isn't trying to take something from you. Sometimes, they're silently asking you to give them a reason to stay. My name is Daniel Carter, and at 34, I had become very good at living quietly. I worked from home repairing insurance claims, ate dinner alone, and rarely spoke to anyone on my street. 2 years earlier, my younger brother had died unexpectedly, and something inside me had shut down with him. People told me grief would become easier, but mine simply became quieter. I stopped answering invitations. I stopped making plans. My little house became a place where everything had a specific location and every day looked exactly like the one before it. Then Claire moved into the house next door. She was probably in her early 30s, with dark brown hair, a gentle face, and the kind of smile that appeared even when her eyes looked exhausted. She moved in with almost nothing. 2 suitcases, a small wooden box, and an old photograph she kept carrying from room to room. For the first few days, I barely noticed her. Then strange things began happening. I would find her standing near my fence, looking toward my house. Once, I saw her sitting on her front steps long after midnight. Another evening, she walked past my driveway 3 times without seeming to realize she was doing it. I assumed she was troubled and decided it wasn't my business. Then came the night at my window. After our awkward exchange, Claire quickly apologized and stepped away. I almost closed the window and forgot about the whole thing, but something in her face stopped me. I asked if she was okay. She nodded too quickly. I asked again. This time she looked down and admitted she hadn't meant to frighten me. She said she had simply needed somewhere quiet to stand. I told her she could sit on my porch if she wanted. She hesitated before accepting. We sat 6 feet apart while the rain fell around us. For almost 20 minutes, neither of us spoke. Finally, she told me that she had moved into the neighborhood because she was trying to rebuild her life. She had left a relationship that had slowly destroyed her confidence. There had been no dramatic escape, no police cars, no movie-style ending. Just years of being told she wasn't good enough until she started believing it herself. She said the hardest part wasn't leaving. The hardest part was learning that she deserved a life after leaving. I understood that feeling more than I wanted to admit. I told her about my brother. I hadn't spoken his name out loud to a stranger in months. I told her how guilty I felt because our last conversation had ended with an argument. I had spent 2 years wondering whether one kinder sentence might have changed everything. Claire listened without trying to fix me. She simply said that sometimes we carry guilt because it gives us the illusion that we had control over something we never could have controlled. After that night, our friendship began quietly. She borrowed sugar. I helped fix a broken cabinet. She left a plate of homemade food on my porch when I worked late. I shoveled snow from her walkway when she wasn't home. Neither of us called it friendship. We just kept finding small reasons to cross the distance between our houses. But Claire still had secrets. One afternoon, I saw her arguing with a man beside her car. He grabbed her wrist, and she immediately pulled away. I started walking toward them, but the man noticed me and drove off. Claire insisted she was fine. I didn't believe her. She told me the man was her former partner and that he had discovered where she lived. She promised she would handle it. A week later, I found a folded piece of paper underneath my door. It contained only 4 words, "Please don't trust Claire." I stared at those words for a long time. The easiest thing would have been to confront her. The safest thing, perhaps, would have been to distance myself. Instead, I remembered what she had told me about being judged by the worst parts of her past. So I waited. That evening, Claire came to my porch. Before I could ask anything, she handed me the same photograph I had seen her carrying since moving in. It showed a little girl standing beside an older woman in front of a yellow house. Claire finally explained that the little girl was her. The older woman was her mother, who had died years earlier. The yellow house had belonged to her grandmother, and after her mother died, Claire had been raised there for a while. But the house was sold after a family dispute, and she had lost the only place that had ever felt safe. She had recently discovered that the house had belonged to my brother's construction company before it was sold. My breath caught. Claire told me that my brother had been the last person who tried to help her family recover important documents connected to the property. She had found his name while searching through old records. That's why she had been watching my house. She wasn't trying to steal anything. She had been trying to find the man whose brother might know what happened. The note beneath my door had come from her former partner, who wanted me to distrust her because Claire had refused to give him information about the property. I felt ashamed of how quickly fear had entered my mind. But Claire didn't blame me. She simply said she understood. Then she told me something that broke through 2 years of grief. She said my brother had helped her once. Years before his death, he had found Claire crying outside a government office after someone told her that her family had no claim to anything. He had bought her a cup of coffee, sat beside her, and spent an entire afternoon helping her understand the paperwork. She remembered him as the first stranger who had ever treated her like she mattered. I covered my face with my hands. For 2 years, I had mourned my brother by remembering our final argument. Claire remembered him by remembering his kindness. That night, something changed inside me. I helped Claire search through my brother's old files. We found documents proving that her grandmother's property had been transferred under circumstances that deserved investigation. Claire eventually got legal help, and the truth came out. The property couldn't simply be returned, but she received compensation and, more importantly, closure. Months passed. Claire stayed in the neighborhood. I started going outside more. We planted flowers between our houses and painted our fences. The first Christmas after we met, she knocked on my door holding 2 cups of hot chocolate. She smiled and reminded me of the night at my window. I laughed and told her I still couldn't believe I had joked about having nothing worth stealing. She looked at me softly and said, "You were wrong. You had something worth finding." I asked what she meant. She pointed at my chest. "Your heart. You had buried it, but it was still there." For the first time in years, I cried without feeling ashamed. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with someone who needs a second chance, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. You never know when one small act of kindness might become the reason someone believes in life again. And before we end, I have one special request. Comment, "Everyone deserves a second chance," if you believe people can heal when someone chooses to see the good still living inside them. Because Claire came to my window looking for answers, but she ended up giving me something I didn't know I had lost. Hope. And sometimes, that's the greatest thing one human being can give another.